한 여성이 4살 된 아이에게 밤마다 잠들기 전에 이야기를 한 편씩 들려주면서 결말 부분에서 딱 멈추고는 이렇게 말했습니다. 그 다음부터는 어떤 이야기일까? 이 한마디로 인해 아들은 커서 영향력 있는 작가가 됩니다. 바로 괴테의 이야기죠. 우리는 삶 속에서 엄마의 역할이 얼마나 대단하고 큰지 제대로 정의하지 못하는 경우가 많습니다. 그중 하나가 바로 스토리텔링인데요. 하지만 모든 엄마들이 아들을 괴테처럼 키울 수 있는 건 아닙니다. 어떤 스토리를 들려줬느냐가 중요한데요. 오늘 소개해드릴 책은 내가 어떤 스토리를 선택하느냐에 따라 인생이 좌우된다는 메시지가 들어있습니다. 스토리로 인생을 바꾸는 방법입니다. 첫 번째, iceberg moment.
It wasn't the little mountaintop, the tip of the iceberg that took down the Titanic. It was the fact that 90% of an iceberg's mass, and the same is true for us, 90% of what is taking us down or holding us back are the subconscious stories that are happening that we don't even know are there. So every once in a while, you'll get this, I call it an iceberg moment, where you will see one of these things pop above the surface, and they usually show up as a limiting belief.
빙산의 일각이라고 하죠. 물 위에 드러난 빙산의 모습은 보잘것없지만 제거하려고 하면 물밑에 거대한 빙산을 마주해야 합니다. 저자가 말하는 빙산에는 신체, 행동, 감정 등이 있는데요. 우리가 말로 내뱉는 겉으로는 별것 아닌 것 같지만 왜 그렇게 말하는지 따지고 보면 큰 문제가 있는 아이스버그의 예입니다. 나는 내 잠재력을 다 못 써보고 죽을 거야. 이게 내 한계야. 난 중요한 사람이 아니야. 나는 돈이 충분치 않아. 별것 아닌 것 같은 이런 작은 말들은 보이지 않는 물밑의 빙산 전체를 오염시킵니다. 그렇다면 반대로 사소한 작은 말 몇 마디로 나를 바꿀 수도 있다는 생각을 해볼 수도 있을 겁니다. 책에서는 다음과 같은 긍정적인 셀프톡을 추천합니다. 나는 가치 있는 사람이야. 나는 여기에 필요한 사람이야. 나는 아이디어가 많은 사람이야. 나는 자신감이 넘치고 자기 의견을 잘 말하는 사람이야. 여기까지만 이야기하면 영혼 없는 긍정 메시지만 되기 때문에 저자의 다른 책인 뇌에 오래 남는 이야기를 기반으로 디테일한 팁을 전달드리겠습니다. 위의 메시지가 제대로 효과를 발휘해서 머릿속에 오래 남아 있으려면 다음 4가지 조건이 충족돼야 합니다. Even with the title of the book, you're telling the word story many times. People find it very easy to understand what story actually means. But after I finished the book, listening to your talks and other videos, I wanted to hear your version of the re-explanation of the term story.
The most important thing to remember are the 4 key components that a story needs to have. It needs an identifiable character, a character that we can see and picture and cheer for and feel with and relate to. Now, when it comes to our self stories, the stories we're telling ourselves, oftentimes that character is us, or it's us as we were first beginning a new job. So we become the identifiable character. The second key component of a story is to have authentic emotion. If we're talking about business stories, sometimes this is a component that business leaves out because they want to take emotion out of business, which is a huge mistake because all business is emotional. We care about it. That's why we do it, right? But when it comes to our self stories, the relationship with the emotion is a little bit different because it is inherent in the experience. It is embedded within our self stories. But what we can do when there is authentic emotion is use it as a guide. So if you get this wave of fear when you're thinking about something, or you get that tightening in your stomach, or maybe your head starts to buzz a little bit, that's an indication of an emotion, which is also then an indication that there are stories there that you should look into. And then on the flip side, you can use that emotion from more positive stories to reprogram in and move yourself forward. Third key component of a story is a specific moment. And that means like a place and time where you can see yourself. As humans, we do this naturally. If I were to say, I want to take you back to first days at a new place, can you see yourself like walking into that home? Our brain, when we go back and look at our stories, it holds on to these very small moments. Try to find stories you can tell yourself that serve you, that make you believe in yourself the way you need to, or make you feel a certain way. life, like a really proud moment. We're standing on a stage and you received an award. And then the final component is specific details. And these are those little things that you can remember, like your favorite food at breakfast time, or a pair of sneakers that you love. Maybe it was your first desk that you sat at. But those very specific details that really round out the story and bring it to life.
어린 괴타가 엄마의 질문에 귀 기울이고 다음 펼쳐질 이야기를 상상하며 작가의 길에 들었던 것처럼 우리도 우리 자신에게 마치 엄마가 해주는 말처럼 온기를 느끼며 위의 말들을 해야 효과가 있는 것입니다. Show us a short demo. Positive self-talk.
This is the thing that I'm going to task you with after you listen to this, is I want you to pay really close attention to the voice in your head and what it says to you throughout the day. Maybe it's in a moment of quiet, maybe it's right before you get on a conference call. And what is it saying? Is it saying you can't handle this, or you always mess this up, or that person would never talk to you? Listen to that voice. And anytime it's being critical, that is a signal to you that there are stories there that make your brain think is justified in saying that to you. And so the next step then is to pause for a moment. We were talking about the power of the pause, and just to stop and know yourself better and say, okay, where might those stories be coming from? A couple of weeks ago, I was invited to this really exclusive, really amazing event. Powerful women, really influential women. And as the event kept approaching, I kept hoping that something would come up, an emergency for me that meant that I couldn't go. So I kept thinking, oh, maybe my kid is going to get sick, and then it was raining just an hour before I was supposed to go. And I kept feeling myself say, oh, you shouldn't go. And I finally paused and thought, wait a minute, I'm feeling uncomfortable, that like I don't belong in this room. Where is this coming from? And I could trace back, just from that moment of pause, I could trace back where those stories were coming from. They were coming from being the new kid at school. They were coming from being a little bit eccentric and not having as much money as everybody else, feeling insecure about my family, my financial situation, my place in the world. All these old stories, not being invited to the birthday parties, whatever it was. And I thought, wow, that is wild that all of these stories right here in this moment as an adult, accomplished woman are making me hope that something's gonna make it so I can't go to this event with these other amazing women. So I caught myself in that. I found out where those stories were coming from, and then I had to stop for a minute, find other stories in my life of when I was among other great thinkers, great minds, and I belonged there. Started thinking about all my incredible friends and their accomplishments. I could see the specific moments. I could remember what I was wearing. I remember how I felt. I told myself those stories in the cab ride there, so that when I walked into the room, I felt like I belonged. This is not one of those books. This is not one of these methods that you can just know about. It is going to require you taking action and being an active participant in the stories you're telling yourself.
많은 좋은 챕터들이 있었지만 저는 책에서 캐치라는 제목을 가진 챕터에 집중하게 됐습니다. 앞서 말씀드린 온기가 담긴 긍정적인 셀프토크를 하기 위해서는 내가 평소에 어떤 이야기들을 스스로에게 하고 있는지 잘 캐치해야 하기 때문인데요. 아들을 진정 사랑하는 엄마라면 아이의 짜증이 배고픔인지 피곤인지 감정 때문인지를 헤아리려고 노력할 겁니다. 그 원인을 캐치하고 상처에 연고를 바르듯 올바른 스토리를 들려주겠죠.
All of us have these lenses, have these beliefs that seem good, right? Like that sounds good. Like I'm not going to pursue this passion because I need to provide for my family. You know, you don't pursue a dream when really that's just fancy dress that you put on fear. And nobody's going to question that. Through this message, people will start to see those statements. But that's my calling, is to like hold up the mirror to help take down the lens.
책에서는 self-story choice, 결국 스스로에게 들려주는 이야기는 자기가 결정한 것이다 라는 말이 나옵니다. 분명 어쩔 수 없이 어두운 결말의 스토리를 결정할 수밖에 없는 최악의 상황도 있었을 거라 생각합니다. 하지만 내가 어떤 스토리를 믿을 것인지 결정하는 것이 내 몫임을 인정하지 않으면 새로운 스토리를 결정하는 것도 내 몫이라는 생각을 할 수 없게 됩니다.
I would say that this is your time. We are in a critical, crucial, universal crossroads time. Individuals, yes, but as a group, the pen is in your hands and you have the opportunity to rewrite an amazing story and never doubt that. It starts with you. and then teaching others how they can do the same.
It isn't the magnitude of the story that matters, it's the decision to tell a story. Even small stories can go a long way.